Hi, Mr. Barr. I've considered the testimony I've heard here today, all of the information contained in the pre-sentence investigation report, which includes all of these character letters and reference letters from friends and family and colleagues. I've considered the arguments of the attorneys, and of course, I've considered the facts contained in the arrest and booking report, what your charges are and what you've pled guilty to, and that being 2 counts of this unauthorized access. These are each third-degree felonies, as I advised you. Each one is punishable up to 5 years in prison, although you do not score and are not eligible for prison because you score 4.7 points on your guidelines. Before I impose sentence, let me just say a couple things. By all accounts, I'm going to agree with the state and the defense. This is a very unique case. I've not seen a case like this before. I've never seen a PSI like this before. You have no prior record. You have not only your high school degree, but your college degree. No drug use, no alcohol use, no gang affiliation, nothing negative. It was all very positive, and especially the character letters as well. I don't doubt that you have a heart to serve our community. That's obviously what got you into law enforcement in the first place. So that is on the positive side of my balancing. Because as a judge, that's what we do. We kind of weigh the positive and the negative to hopefully come up with what is the wisest and most fair judgment and sentence that we can impose under the facts and circumstances of each case. But one thing that is also different in this case is while I'm not punishing you for being a police officer, I can't also give you some additional benefit for being a police officer, if that makes any sense. And that is because you are in a position of extreme power and extreme authority as a member of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. And so your level of honesty, integrity, and truthfulness has to be absolutely beyond reproach. And even though you have nothing in your background to indicate or give us any idea that something like this was going to happen, you did on at least 2 occasions provide confidential, restricted information to those who were not entitled to it. Certainly, you would be rightfully fired for doing so. And so the question then becomes, now what should be the criminal consequence of doing those things? And please rest assured, I am not going to impose the sentence I'm imposing to send any message to anyone, whether to JSO or other police officers or children or youth in our community. No. I am imposing a sentence is what a judge has to do for a variety of reasons. Our sentencing scheme is to do many things. To punish, because you have to be held accountable for your actions. To rehabilitate, that's part of our general sentencing scheme. Denunciation, to say this action is wrong, right? This crime is, or this action that you've taken is unlawful. And not in this case, but in others, restitution. So those are all parts of what our Florida legislature has advised us, is that we have to take into account for sentencing. And so I hope that I have done that here today. I probably talked too much and you want to just get down to the business of your sentencing. And so I will go ahead and sentence you, but I have to tell you, I cannot withhold adjudication of guilt. I can't. Again, you were in a position of power and authority and it was abused. And I must adjudicate you guilty of that. You've pled guilty to that, and I'm going to adjudicate you guilty of that. No other reason I can give. I just think that is the appropriate thing to do in this case. So I will adjudicate you guilty on each of counts 1 and 2. And on each count, I will sentence you to concurrent terms as follows. I will sentence you to 60 days in the Duval County Jail with credit for 1 day served. That will be followed by 2 years of probation with the following special conditions. You will serve 150 hours of community service, and I'm not going to specifically order that they be to youth. They can be to wherever or whomever you want, because quite frankly, I don't know if schools or youth groups will now allow a convicted felon to speak in front of them. So I will leave it up to that. But if you wish to do it in front of youth, you can do so. And you will have to pay mandatory felony court costs of $518. And Those will run concurrently. Any questions about the sentence? Do you understand that? Well, you maintain the right to appeal the sentences I've just imposed if they're illegal. But otherwise, that's going to conclude this case today. Now, I will say, I know I've made you a convicted felon, and that will certainly prohibit you from working as a police officer, or I assume firefighter or federal agent. It's not going to prevent you from getting a job, especially this being a non-violent crime. But you are going to have to get a job. And if you can't, and I'm not making this a condition of probation, but Operation New Hope has a very effective program at getting good paying jobs for convicted felons, and they're ready for work programs. So you can certainly go there, but there are plenty of other jobs that you can have. But that's my decision today.
Your Honor, may we approach on a
Yes, but before he leaves,